Debt is the new slavery, but the rich use it to get richer. Debt. Nearly everyone uses it so they are able to get things they don't have the money for. It is leverage other people or lenders to help you fund what you are trying to purchase. Now there are debts categorized as good and bad. Millions of people are chained to the illusion of an inflated lifestyle so they can elevate their status. It keeps these people trapped and having to work harder, stressing more to meet repayments and never seem to get ahead. Debt has become a modern form of financial slavery, the kind that does not require whips or chains, just credit cards and contracts. The moment you fail to make these repayments, your credit rating and reputation is in jeopardy. You risk losing your home and other things attached as security to these loans. This is a way some people end up becoming homeless. They over-leverage and lead to repayments they cannot afford. Here is the twist. The rich are in debt themselves. Except their debt is the reason they get ahead and become even richer, while other people are using debt to purchase lifestyle elevation things such as luxury vehicles or bags. The rich are using debt to purchase assets that generate income that will fund their repayments, and in the background are also growing in value. This is why making wrong choices on how you use debt can keep you stuck and in the rat race until the day you die. This video will break down how the debt traps the poor, frees the wealthy, and how you can use debt to your advantage and get ahead financially. A quick note that I am not a financial advisor. Any information on here is purely for educational and entertainment purposes only. Always do your own research and due diligence before investing your money and consult a financial advisor for financial advice. With that disclaimer out of the way, let's begin. How debt became the new slavery. Many years ago, slavery meant physical labor, and today it's known as financial labor. You may not be in chains, but you are in invisible chains that are buried in debts and credit card debts, car loans, student loans, and other personal loans. A mortgage loan as well. On top of all of these obligations you need to meet, you are also most likely working for someone else making them richer. On top of all this, you are also working for the government, as you have to pay taxes, and whatever is left over finally hits your bank account. Then you need to pay all your liabilities. What is really left over after all of this is considered? This is the way of life of most people right now, and it is becoming harder to live with rising cost of living too. Think about it more every time you are making a payment to the banks due to your mortgage, to the government for taxes and credit card debts. You are working for them rather than yourself. Debt has turned millions of people into lifetime workers, trading their time for money and never getting ahead financially. They opt for instant gratification and trade their freedom for convenience and luxury of today rather than tomorrow. The system has been built this way to keep you in this never-ending cycle. This is because the more debt you acquire, the more they have control over you. How the system is designed in a way that keeps you trapped. Society tells you debt is normal, and everyone uses it. They say get a loan for your car. You deserve it as you have been working so hard. Take out a mortgage for that dream home. Use credit cards. It's great for your credit rating. These are all traps to keep you in the rat race. The banks make billions of revenue just on interest payments alone. Government rely on inflation to devalue your money, and corporations market lifestyles that are enticing enough for you to buy on credit. They want you to keep you spending so you can stay trapped. This is the trap, a form of financial slavery disguised as success on the outside. Now let's distinguish between good and bad debts. This is how you can turn it all around and make things work for you and in your favor. The bad debts that you should avoid are credit cards, especially ones you do not need. Car loans, especially for cars that depreciate over time or don't retain their market value. Buy now, pay later schemes that get you the item now, but puts you into debt for the foreseeable future. This is a big wealth-crushing scheme that keeps you poor. An overly expensive principal place of residence mortgage. This keeps you working for the next 20 to 30 years of your life. The repayments of these loans are massive and takes a lot out of your pocket per month. not to mention other ongoing expenses such as insurance, council rates, water rates, and utility bills. Then you got good debts. These are the debts you should focus on and ones that will make you money and build your wealth. Taking out a mortgage to purchase an investment property. Rental properties generate you ongoing cash flow that is used to pay the monthly repayments, so you are hardly out of pocket. On top of that, they are capital appreciating assets that usually outpaces inflation. Taking out a business loan to fund your business endeavors. This enables you to generate income and business profits while increasing the business value over time. Leveraging other debts that can be used to purchase assets that appreciate in value over time. The poor love to use debt to look rich. The rich are more quiet and subtle and use debt to become rich. The wealthy understand that debt is leverage. They understand the risks involved and how they can mitigate it. They understand how they control risk and have strategies in place for long term. This is how the wealthy will use debt as leverage to become even wealthier. 1. They work a job, even better if high-paying. This is temporary until they have built up enough assets that will fund their lifestyle, then they can comfortably enjoy life. 2. They get assessed for borrowing power by their broker. 3. They understand how much money they can borrow based on their income. 4. They save up enough deposit to minimize their loan-to-value ratio, or also known as their LVR position. 5. Then they will look for the best deal and settle on the investment property. 6. The broker will work for them to find the best lender with the best interest rate and lowest fees. 7. Then once that property has risen in value, they can be reassessed to access equity from the property and repeat the process again for the second deal and so on. Most aim for at least 10 properties, so they can ensure growth across 10 different locations. Once some of them have done their job, they can be liquidated, and capital can be used to pay off other loans, so other properties in the portfolio can be debt-free. This will lead to maximum cash flow in those properties. Of course, there are some costs associated with selling, such as capital gains tax, but all of this is for another video, as this topic is quite extensive. For simplicity, I have just outlined the step-by-step guide and strategy on how people can become wealthy just by acquiring property alone. The hidden nuances between inflation and debt. Inflation is known as the Great Eraser, but only if you are on the right side of it. If you owe $1 million debt on a property, and as inflation rises, that million becomes easier to pay off over time because the value of money drops. If you are a saver and put all your cash in a savings account, that is a big risk as the value is worth less each year. This is the reason wealthy people always stay invested to ensure their capital are not getting left behind and is outpacing inflation. They remain leveraged and always looking for the next big and best deal. Inflation quietly transfers wealth from savers to investors. They let inflation destroy the value of their debt as their assets skyrocket in price. Remember to always borrow only for wealth creation. Always stay invested and leverage as much as possible within your capacity and risk tolerance. Understand what you are investing into. Do your own research and always educate yourself. Protect yourself as much as possible. Don't put all of your capital in one basket, but have multiple buffers in place and an emergency fund for things that could go wrong, so you are fully prepared for worst-case scenarios. Improve your financial literacy so that you can make wise decisions when putting your money to work. Always have an exit strategy in place for long-term investments. Debt is not your enemy. Ignorance and lack of financial IQ is. Debt has created two types of people: those who are enslaved by it and those who are empowered by it. The poor borrow to survive. The middle class use debt to showcase a false sense of status by trying to look rich. The wealthy borrow to create true, long-lasting generational wealth. View debt as a tool to make you richer and enjoy a life of freedom and control. Once you have mastered the tools to make money, then you can play the game in your favor. Stay in control, empower yourself, and live a life of freedom. So what's your next step? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more content like this, and share it with someone who's ready to level up their financial game.